Canada boasts more than 20% of the world's fresh water, with its rivers and lakes representing about 7% of the planet's renewable water supply. This abundance has attracted attention from various sectors, considering the increasing global demand for fresh water.
As we begin 2024, one of the biggest concerns in this country is drought. The latest government data shows nearly 3/4 of Canada is abnormally dry. There's a map for you to look at. The situation is most severe, you can see in the prairies, where 97% of land is unusually dry. Alberta is preparing a drought emergency plan. Other provinces could soon follow suit.
This is Six Nations of the Grand River. It's named for the waterway that runs through its territory. It's not remote or hard to access. It's located just 30 minutes from Brantford and Hamilton and about an hour and a half from Toronto. So why is it that people here say in 2024 they don't have reliable access to clean drinking water?
No one outside the community gives a damn. If they did, I wouldn't be here. We'd have to go to the courts to finally get something done.
We're here to find out why water is still such an issue on the most populated reserve in Canada.
Hi.
Hey, I'm Jayla.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Ashley.
This is Ashley Cook's home. It's where she lives with her husband and 4 kids. Here, everyone knows which water is for drinking. And how long would this last?
Maybe a week, maybe a week and a half, yeah.
What's your tap water over here used for?
Dishes.
Okay.
Dishes, bathroom, showering, laundry, yeah.
Okay. And why? Why don't you drink your tap water?
We've never ever trusted our tap water, and we just grew up never drinking tap water, so it's just normal to not drink it.
Like a lot of families on reserve, their tap water comes from an outdoor cistern, and it's easy to get caught short. So there is pipe-treated water here in Six Nations. But the water main stops about 2 kilometers short of Ashley Cook's home. In fact, about 70% of homes here aren't connected to the water treatment plant. So we're gonna head there now and find out why more people aren't hooked up to it. This plant was built with help from the federal government. It nearly quadrupled the water treatment capacity on reserve. But a decade later, water service still doesn't run down most roads. The head of Public Works, Mike Montour, says while nearby cities take potable tap water for granted, it's just a different reality here. How did we get here that in 2024, people can't necessarily turn on their tap in this community and have like clean, trustworthy drinking water?
Everything really boils down to money, to me. Like, it's not just the funding that they provide now that's not enough, it's the funding they didn't provide 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years ago.
The federal government spent $26 million to build the water treatment center and another $15 million since then to extend water mains. Six Nations itself has put up around $20 million of its own, but it's not enough. So the people who aren't connected use patchwork solutions to get and transport water. Mike says that comes with risk.
Can we guarantee that, well water is safe, or what they're doing with the water from that truck fill, what the container they're putting it in, and how they're connecting it to their home and using it? No, we can't.
Solving that is not something Six Nations can fund on its own. By council's estimates, getting clean water to even part of the reserve would cost tens of millions of dollars and upwards of hundreds of millions for the entire community.
Right now, the community of Pivernituk is dealing with the state of emergency. But even before the fire, you were very concerned about the water shortage, the water crisis in the community, especially because of what you were seeing in the hospital. So for the rest of us across the country, describe what you were seeing.
For about a week, we had 4 days of shortage of water that could accumulate 24 hours. This means no water to clean our hands. We are in contact with fluids, vomit, blood. This is also the toilets that are full of stools and urine. You can imagine what is it, that everybody shares the same condition, because it's not just the water, it's always the sewage emptying that the public services right now are not able to complete. So, and it's the same reality in our households for 2 weeks to 1 month. No shower either. Yeah.
I'm just quiet because I'm in shock. And I think a lot of people listening to this would be shocked and horrified to find out that this has been going on for weeks in a Canadian community. So how did it get this bad? We know that a water main broke in March. What's being done to resolve the situation?
There are actually active team on the ground, on the field, that are trying to reconnect a new circuit of, there's a water pipe that was frozen. So there is a team that is able to be there right now, but there is insufficient resources to provide the community in the meantime. Kativik regional government declared officially that it could not be repaired before June. So you say to a full community, we're not able to provide for a few weeks. People need to wait, and then there is no immediate measures that are taken, like in 48, 72 hours to help the people in need. The state of emergency should have been declared way before than yesterday. Quebec government had in his hand all the red flags possible to know citizens were in danger. And we had to go through a fire yesterday, 2 houses burned. Hopefully there was no one inside the house. But can you imagine, I've seen the images like of firefighters throwing bottles of water in the fire. This is beyond comprehension.
On the one-year anniversary of Calgary's water crisis, the City of Calgary has announced new plans to improve and expand on the infrastructure it repaired after bursting last year. As Stephanie Thomas reports, the city wants to avoid catastrophes like we saw, while some experts say it's up to everyone to rethink their water consumption.
City Council approved $1 billion for infrastructure repairs, including to water services, last November. Now, Calgary Mayor Jyoti Gondek says the city's water infrastructure, stretching 5,000 kilometers underneath our city, needs more investment, and soon.
Infrastructure is more than pipes and concrete. It's the foundation of our quality of life.
The city has announced plans to add additional water feeder main lines. Construction is set to begin on a 22-kilometer-long feeder main in North Calgary this summer, while design plans are in the works for a 25-kilometer stretch in the city's south. And plans are also underway to build a micro-tunnel under or beside the Bearspaw feeder main.
It's not an all-or-nothing project. We bring them on in phases. And so within a couple of years, we'll start to see increased redundancy and resilience.
Civil engineering experts say the city of Calgary is not unique in addressing aging or failing infrastructure.
These are decisions and conversations that every city across North America is having right now.
She added, everyone should pay closer attention to water consumption and how water gets to homes.
No matter how much water you think you have, you should probably be aware of how much water you're using.
The province is sounding the alarm about looming water scarcity.
The situation is severe. We need people to turn their minds to a conservation mindset now.
Emergency Management and Climate Readiness Minister Bowen Ma says more water restrictions may be put in place soon.
Water restrictions would come from local governments and First Nations, and we'll be speaking with all the mayors and chiefs and chairs this afternoon about the drought conditions that we're seeing and encouraging communities to escalate their water restrictions.
BC is still feeling the effects of drought from last fall. Conditions are dire as the province heads into the hottest, driest months of the year. BC uses a 6-level drought classification system to explain the severity and level of response to drought conditions. It ranges from 0 in light green, which is sufficient to meet socioeconomic and ecosystem needs, to level 5, shown in dark red. Dark red means a lack of water is having adverse impacts and will likely lead to water restrictions and regulatory action for businesses. This is what the province looks like now. Much of the province is already at level 4 and some parts at level 5, including Vancouver Island, northeastern BC, and Bulkley Lakes regions. On Vancouver Island, where drought concerns are the most severe, the Cowichan River levels are dropping. With so little water, there's concern about the fish. Most of BC has received rainfall over the past year between 40% and 85% of annual average precipitation. Rain could change the current trend.
It really is going to revolve around what will happen come September and October and whether we get the province-wide precipitation events such as things like atmospheric rivers. We do need big rainfall events.
The province is suggesting people restrict their own water use by taking shorter showers, watering their lawns less. So far, the BC Energy Regulator is requiring oil and gas operators to immediately suspend water diversions to the Peace and Liard River watersheds. Ma says a program is also in place to reimburse First Nations and local governments if they need to truck in water if the situation gets worse. Mira Baines, CBC News, Vancouver.
It's harvest time for Katie Elric. She has been farming in the Cowichan Valley for 20 years.
Farming to me just makes sense, but it's also so important to me because it provides healthy vegetables for the community, so I feel like we're doing something that's important for the community.
The Elric Farm and Cafe depend on groundwater and uses every bit very carefully.
With the drip tape, it is actually goes right onto the vegetables that need watering.
In 2016, the province implemented the Water Sustainability Act.
This well here.
Since then, businesses have needed a license to use groundwater.
We went through the application form. We filled it out. That was like in 2020.
She says in July, provincial enforcement officers came to the farm and told them to stop using groundwater.
And we were like, shocked. We really didn't know what to do at that point.
The province had no trace of her initial application, so Elric applied again.
They're so backed up in the processing groundwater license that it'd probably be 2 to 4 years. That's why I'm saying that this is a threat to food security in the Cowichan Valley.
This hydrologist helps businesses apply for groundwater licenses. He says long wait times will cause more problems.
Will they wait years until they hear back from the government? Or will they just simply say, forget it, I'm just going to not apply and hope they'll never find out? And so when your decisions are not timely, you could run the risk of driving people underground.
But Wei says licenses are an important tool to regulate dwindling water.
By introducing the act, we're slowly changing people's attitude to realize this water, whether it's water in a lake or a stream or underground, is a public resource.
It's an underground resource that's essential for land-based businesses. But that resource is important for fish as well. And that's creating conflict in drought-stricken parts of the province.
This is a really tough situation for a lot of businesses because they require the water, they depend on it like we all do. And there's probably a lot of fear about what'll happen if they get licensed and the fear of being restricted further. But the fact is that we are in very desperate times right now with unprecedented drought. We have fish being cooked in our creeks from being too hot. We have to manage this.
He says the province should step up.
We only have one water sustainability plan that's even close to being completed in BC, and we have watersheds across the province that need them.
Come on, cows!
Recently, Katie Elric was allowed to use the groundwater again while she waits to hear back.
It still feels very stressful.
The future of this invisible resource remains a debate as fish populations and farmers continue to face challenges.
Look at how cute they are.